My apologies, you all. They just did introductions and the mute button was still on. So we are now to you for introductions. Anyone?
Michael Brown, board member. Simmons.
Monique Kirkendall Quarterman, Cabinet for Economic Development.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jennifer Hancock, Volunteers of America.
Sharon Allen, board member.
Lyndon Pryor, board member, Louisville Urban League.
One second, sorry. Okay, is that everyone?
Yeah, everyone has done their introduction.
All right, just a quick note. I don't know if this is the time for this, but
You want me to do the official roll call?
roll call.
Okay, happy to. Sharon Allen,
Present.
J. Michael Brown,
Present.
Alicia Burns. Alicia Burns. Dr. Douglas Craddock,
Present.
Gina Dunlap,
Present.
Jennifer Hancock,
Here,
Tammy Hawkins. Tammy Hawkins. Jessica Jackson,
Present.
Darlene Johnson Jones. Dr. Gabriel Jones, Jr. Dr. Gabe. Dr. Mary Milliner,
Present.
Michael Nagel.
Present.
Lyndon Pryor,
Present.
Christopher Romaine,
Present.
Desmond Smith Jr. Desmond Smith Jr. William Summers.
Here.
Dr. Don Wade. Secretary Jarena Weathers. Secretary Jarena Weathers. And Gary Williams. Gary Williams. Monique Quarterman, proxy for Secretary Jeff Knoll.
Present.
And Jeff O'Brien, and we have proxy Josh, what's your last name, Josh? McKee? MCKEE. And I'll have you sign off on this. We have a quorum.
All right. So as I was saying before, I don't know if this is the time for this, but I'm gonna jump in here. I received an email from Gina Dunlap regarding the programs committee. I know we had discussed it previously, I think in our last board meeting. And I just wanted to, and you know, I'm a school teacher, so when I got the message, I was like, okay, I hear it. But I just want you to know that I am considering it, I'm thinking about it. So I just wanted to let you know it was, and just so everybody knows, Ms. Dunlap was saying that we probably need to establish a program committee. So if you were not here in the previous meeting, I know you can go back and look at the meeting from last time to kind of get an overall view of what was discussed. But yes, I am considering that. So is there anybody else that needs to jump in there? Want to add anything, Ms. Dunlap? Oh, thank you.
Let me add just a couple of comments
Okay.
regarding that request. And I know that every board member was not copied on the request, but my concern is as we go forward, that we are mindful of the difference between the board's policy making and oversight function and the staff's responsibility to do administrative work and program development.
Can I ask a question, please? Monique Kirkendall Quarterman here. Can we have some context in relation to that request? I know every board member wasn't on it, and so I'm just making sure I'm understanding what I'm listening to.
Okay, so I'll just kind of briefly go over. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, so as I stated, Ms. Dunlap sent an email regarding a programs committee, like to establish a programs committee. And her concern is that, we need to be able to, set up a committee that would help to discuss, correct me if I'm wrong on this, discuss the property tax and loan programs and all those kinds of things to the people in the community. Is that what you're concerned? Yeah. I mean, if it's not, please correct
No,
me.
I didn't quite, I don't understand the question you're asking.
Oh, it was just, Ms. Quarterman was asking what the programs committee, I guess, was for, or the relationship to that, yes? So if you can, if I wasn't clear about what that was, or what the purpose of, that's okay. So what was, and I'll just ask you, just because it was your request, how about that? Your request was for a programs committee for what reason?
Program design.
For program design, and can you elaborate?
Sure, so that board members could have some input and collaboration, both with contract staff and or outside stakeholders to help make sure that we spin up a program that is sensitive to the needs of the community. Yeah.
Does that help?
Thank you for that clarification, Ms. Dunlap and Chair Milner.
No problem. All right. Questions, comments, or concerns before we move on? Because I want to try to keep us on the agenda and on time. All right.
I'm sorry, this is Lyndon Pryor. I did have a question regarding that. Is there laid out in the statute or somewhere else what the procedure is for creating a committee?
Yes, but I'm not.
The process is not laid out in the statute.
Yeah.
The bylaws say that the board has the ability to create committees that they need. And Robert's rules indicates that the board chair appoints those who would serve on each board committee.
Does that help, Mr. Pryor?
It does. Well, yes, it does answer the question, but it seems to me then that there is no process outlined for how we actually create the committee. So Ms. Dunlap has made a recommendation that a committee be created, but we don't have a process for doing so, which I guess for me would be the next step in the iteration. Whether we decide to create a programming committee or not, it just seems that we need to have a process by which such a task is undertaken.
Mr. Pryor.
Board chair has indicated that she will take the request under consideration.
And quick question for clarification, in typical board meetings that we have for state government, could a motion be made to create a committee? Is that what the step that we're leaving out in this description? That would initiate the process?
At this point, it would be difficult to make a motion to create a committee since we are not fully informed of what the committee's responsibilities would be. So rather than to create a committee now, the chair has indicated that she's going to consider it, which would mean that she's going to think through what the duties and responsibilities would be. And she would come back and discuss that with the body.
Thank you.
I think that typically, like I said, on the boards, but we got that recommendation. The chair is responsible for creating whatever committees that are going to be needed for the body. And like I said, now she is taking that recommendation. She's going to think about it and see what needs to be done. And if a committee is deemed necessary, then it will be created.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Anybody else? Questions, comments, or concerns? All right, let's move on then. Okay, so now we have a special presentation by the PVA administrator, Mrs. Colleen Younger.
Thank you, Colleen. Sure. Come up. This is a large room, so we try to position so that we can make sure, feel free to stand back.
Why don't you,
Whatever you're comfortable.
whichever,
I can sit.
Okay,
Just want to make sure everyone can see. So
Yeah,
maybe
you're
I'll
back.
put them right for.
yeah,
what I was gonna suggest is you might wanna take this seat because of the mic.
well,
Be easier.
yeah, and it's also good from the viewing standpoint, they could
Yeah.
see her there, Laura, this should be fine.
Hey. Musical chairs here.
Mhm.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Colleen Younger, and I am your Jefferson County Property Valuation Administrator. And my staff is here with me tonight. I'd like to introduce them. Have Melody Humphrey, our Director of Customer Service in Small Cities, Jason Hancock, our Chief of Staff, Tommy Hart, our Director of Valuation, Ashley Tenius, our Director of Communication. Before I get into this short presentation, I'd like to when I was elected in 2018, I came with two goals. And that was, number one, to offer fair, equitable, and accurate property assessments. And number two, to offer best-in-class customer service. And I think what I'm going to share with you tonight, I hope that you'll be able to agree that we are achieving those goals at a high level. So I'm glad to be here. We did a lot of public outreach this year, and Rita was there on at least 4 occasions with us. And so we're glad to be able to be a part of this group and come tonight and kind of demystify what the PVA is and how we get our work done. So as I said, our mission is to provide fair and equitable assessments and best-in-class customer service. And we do that through a myriad of programs and ways. Our big program over the last 4 years has been, you have a right to appeal. You may have seen this on media this year. We did a very strong media outreach and, okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Mhm.
And we were on television and radio and in print media and just, you know, on various talk shows with Don G or Terry Miners or those folks, and really getting our word out and our information out to educate the public that they do indeed have a right to appeal under state law. So in 2015, the appeals reached its highest level when under a previous PVA, who rolled out a property assessment with no preliminary work. And the community quickly pushed back, and a lot was learned from that experience. And I was in the office at that time as an employee, and then when I got elected, we put a great team together and we began to do this public outreach program that has made all the difference in the world. So following our previously in 2015, we had about 10% of appeals each year. And when you take 10% of 325,000 properties in Jefferson County, it's about 3,250 appeals every year. Since we've done this education program and this strong outreach program, that has been reduced to 2%. So it's dropped about 8 percentage points. The basic role of the PVA, we are a statutory office and we are charged with assessing all property at 100% fair market value. And we do that by doing a detailed review of properties for revaluation in a rolling 4-year cycle. It's called the quadrennial plan. So this year we are in this area, area 1, and area 4, which is Shively all the way out the Dixie corridor. And that is that's been reassessed. So we've gone through the appeal process, and that encompasses the entire Cliff area and then goes on out into Shively all the way out Dixie Highway. And so what we're looking in these reassessments are we are looking for market trending.
And as everyone knows, we have trended upward. Real estate is going up, and it has slowed down a little bit over the last few months with the spike in mortgage rates. But by and large, over the last couple of years, real estate has been on the fast track. And this has been a very hot market. So the reassessment is certainly reflecting that. So we're looking for those substantial market changes in these reassessments. Assessments are very important. They form the basis for our tax roll, which is then levied by cities, state, and other taxing authorities like the Jefferson County Public Schools. This tax roll that these assessments convert to actually funds the Jefferson County Public Schools and fire districts. So two very important public services, and then some other essential community services. So in 2023, with this reassessment complete, we have added about $6 billion to the total of the assessment, to the aggregate assessment roll, bringing that to a total of about $85 billion. That includes commercial, real, and real properties. The real estate market has changed rapidly in the last couple of years, as we all know, and again, with the increase in property or mortgage rates, it's starting to just slow a little bit. A lot of that, however, is due to not enough inventory on the market. And there's still more buyers in the market than there are sellers. So we are in a seller's market, and it's the seller's advantage in a market like this, because when you have buyers bidding on a home, they're going to bid up as high as they can to get that property. And that's what we're faced with, is identifying some of these inflated prices that are being bid on these homes. So this year we sent out just under 85,000 property reassessment notices. 23,986 of those were in the TIP. So virtually all the properties in the TIP were reassessed. This is what our card looked like. It's a big 4-color, nice looking 4-color postcard that has personal property, the personal information on it of what your property address is, and where, you know, what the value is, and if it, whether or not it has a homestead on it. In Area 1, which is this area, basically from Portland all the way over to through the Algonquin corridor, Area 1, they had 953 real estate sales from July 21 through December of 2022. So in about a year and a half in Area 1, there were 953 real estate sales. The low sale on that in that area was $7,000. The high side of that was $285,000, which gave us, based on the sales that we analyzed, a median value in Area 1 of $79,900. So that's the median value for the entire Area 1. That doesn't mean that no one's assessment will be over Area 1. Obviously, it will be. The median is just what, you know, what the median is. There's some above it, there's some below it. There's if you look on your PowerPoint, you can see over the last 14 years or so, 14 years, that in 2009 in Area 1, the median value was $39,280. And then, as you see, it began to diminish during the market crash. And during 2 of those reassessment seasons, we had to take the property values down in Area 1 because the foreclosure had become the market here. And I remember we went down, Melody and I were there, I think Jason was there too. we had a big meeting at the Shawnee Clubhouse, Shawnee Golf Course Clubhouse, and people were very disturbed about losing the value of their home. Because they were not going to be able to, get any kind of a line of credit or those kinds of things that are the impact of a decreasing property value. So as you can see, from 2009 up to really very recent, the market returned very slowly. And in several years, it continued to either stay the same, flat, or decline. However, in 2022, it saw a bit of an increase. And then this year, in 2023, it really jumped, almost doubling what it had been in previous years. So I think a lot of that does have to do with some of the out-of-town investors and them coming in and buying property and paying. They're coming, you have to remember, these people that are coming in as out-of-town investors, they're coming in from bigger markets. They're coming in from Florida, Texas, Nevada, where these property values stay high all the time. And they're coming into our local market here and they're saying, hey, this is a bargain market here. And they're buying now, like in Smoketown, for instance, they're buying properties that are shells of property. I mean, literally a shell of a property at, $75,000 to $100,000. And then they're coming in, obviously redoing that and either keeping it for rentals or flipping it. But so that has had an impact. It certainly has. We offer an online conference appeal every year during this reassessment. It's a statutory obligation. And by state law, we are required to offer that for 13 days. I am a believer in allowing people their rights to appeal. We extended that statutory window from 13 days to 23 days this year. So people were giving the opportunity to appeal from April the 21st to May 15th. So it was 23 days of we were open to receive appeals. And it's right there on my, there it is. And we actually received about 2,500 online conferences. I was thinking it was a little bit more than that. I was thinking it was more like 28, but it was 25. We really did a lot of outreach. We offered staff out at the Southwest Regional Library and down at the Shawnee Library to make it as easy and as convenient and as accessible and as transparent for people as possible. So we had staffers down at Shawnee Library from April the 21st through the close of the appeal window on May 15th. And we did the same in the Southwest. We also offered 2 evening opportunities where our staff went out into the community, and we were right here in this beautiful facility one evening, and then we were out at Shively City Hall one evening, and our staff was on hand. People could come to these facilities and appeal their property value with staff assistance. We offered in-person assistance in our office Monday through Friday, like we always do. And then we were open for 2 Saturdays as well, Derby Day being one. The homestead exemption is something that is a great help to those who are reaching the senior population. When you get to be 65, you get the benefit. It's the only benefit to growing old. You can apply for the homestead exemption, and that homestead exemption this year was raised. It's adjusted every 2 years. This year it was raised a full $6,000. And so it went from 40-something thousand to $46,350. Now that amount comes off of the total value of your home. So for easy math, if you have a property that is valued at $146,350, you take that $46,350 homestead amount off of that total value. And then you're going to pay taxes on what that value is that's left over. So it would be 100,000. And it actually puts about $550 to $600 back in your pocket on your tax bill. So that is a great savings. We encourage everyone to talk that up, and it's very easy to access now. We have an online function, online portal. You can go online, click on the homestead exemption, answer 5 questions, upload your driver's license, and boom, you get the discount. So it's a great. Melody, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Disability, if you're 100% disabled, you also qualify for the same exemption.
Right. And then also, if you have a child in your home that is disabled, you can qualify for that. And you qualify for for that by putting the home in a trust. And then you can get, if you have a disabled child, then you can get the exemption on that trusted property. So let's see here, 46,350 is the amount this year. And in the TIF district, we have 3,991 parcels inside the TIF that actually have a homestead exemption. Now, I would bet there's some people inside the TIF that don't have a homestead exemption that could really use it. So how can we help you get that word out? What can we do to help you? We talk about it in every public meeting. We put it, in the newspaper. We talk about it on the radio, on TV. But if you all have any ideas about another way that we can reach the population inside your TIF, the TIF, about the homestead exemption and the disability exemption, we are glad to do that. The total value right now of the homestead and disability exemption comes to $178,995,000 in the TIF alone. So that is the value that is being exempted inside the TIF due to homestead and disability. And I think that is about all. We will open the floor for questions. We wanted to do a condensed version, we usually do, but we are here to answer any questions, take any suggestions. Yes, sir.
So,
Might need you to speak up so that they can make sure that it's.
I don't know what page it's on, but the assessed median value. So by my calculations, I could be wrong, but from 2002 to 23, they jumped 72%.
From 2002,
The 36,000 to 63,000.
you mean 2000, 2012. Yeah, 2012.
I'm just looking at the 2022, it was 36,870,
Right,
and then it jumped, the median value jumped to 63.
that's right, yeah.
So that's a 72% jump. So if they, if you paid $1,000 annually in taxes, next year it's gonna be 1720. Is that
Well, we do not set the tax rate.
right? But if the tax rates stay the same,
Right,
there's gonna be, because the value increased, there's gonna be a 70% increase in the taxes.
that's not correct. And the reason that's not correct is because we have a law in Kentucky, out of House Bill 44, that caps the aggregate increase, not just your increase, but the aggregate increase at 4%. So some people's tax bills may go up and certainly will with this reassessment. We don't know what the tax rate is going to be, but as the aggregate tax roll goes up, the tax roll typically decreases based on that 4% law. So I don't know what it's going to be yet. We don't know. We won't know that until about August. Is that right now?
Yeah.
And see, I told you she's a great eye. So we'll get that information when they set that rate in August. But yes, I would say people's tax bills are going to be going up fairly substantial. When you have a property, you know, first of all, like for instance, someone who has a homestead exemption, maybe they had a property that was valued at 36,000 and the homestead was 40,000. They didn't have any tax liability. They didn't even get a tax bill because the homestead took care of it. Well, now the homestead has gone up, but their property value exceeds the homestead amount. So it can very well be a situation where people are now going to get a tax bill. And let me just say this, because, I mean, I hear what you're saying and I'm with you. Our office did a lot of research in the last couple of years. We looked at what was going on all over the country. We looked at what was going on in Philly. We looked at what was going on out west. We looked at what was going on in Florida, Arizona, Texas, and we compiled a wonderful packet of information. And we call them circuit breaker solutions. Circuit breakers, because in recent years, this market has gone crazy. And it is affecting and impacting people, whether they're on fixed incomes or moderate to high income, their tax bills are increased. And so we actually suggested to the state legislature that they look at doing something with a circuit breaker solution that would, first of all, cap the amount that you could raise the value. So maybe you raise the value 10 or 15% a year. Maybe that's the cap. You know, that doesn't mean it will always be 10 or 15, but maybe that is the high ceiling that you would be able to raise it. We also recommended that once you turn 65, that your value is frozen so that you never have to pay a higher amount. But it fell on deaf ears. And they chose not to do anything with it. There's not been an appetite for that. But we're not going to stop. We're going to reintroduce it again this year, or next year rather. And I've already been talking with some legislators who are going to hopefully try to quarterback that through, and we'll see what happens. But I understand where you're going with that.
But they may see an increase, but if you owned it prior to, I'm pretty sure to January 2021, there are tax credits. And I actually have a neighbor, I think she lucked out, but she did major renovations last year and that increased. And then due to the market value, it increased again. So her house increased about threefold. But due to the, WEOP bill, she told me she got a $750 credit on her real estate taxes. So it's not all bad.
No.
But it, creates additional complexity that I think, we need to be aware of as a group. And we need to educate, the folks that, I'm fine, I have the homestead, I don't need to worry about taxes. And then they're delinquent. That's a problem.
And then they get a tax bill.
Yeah.
Maybe they never had a tax. Maybe they've been on homestead for 5 years and they haven't had a tax bill. And now they have a tax bill. And just someone on a problem. Pardon?
If they ignore it, it becomes an even bigger.
Well, yeah, absolutely it does. And that's why education is extremely important. Yeah. Yes, ma'am, Gina.
Hi, two questions.
Gina, speak up, please. So.
Thank you. Is there a deadline for applying for an exemption? And two, can you speak a bit about the moratorium on construction repairs or renovations? Isn't there some exception for that as well?
Well, on the homestead, on the first question, on the homestead exemption, you can apply the year you turn 65. So if you don't turn 65 until December, you can still apply in January of that birthday year. So, and if you happen to miss the year and you don't apply, and then you realize the next year that you are eligible, then we will go back. We can go back 2 years, the current year and the year before that for the homestead. So you can get, the retroactive payment, refund for the year before, if you wait until you're 66. As far as the moratorium, Jason or Tommy, would you all like to talk about that?
The moratorium, there is a moratorium.
Jason, you want to come up here so Zoom can hear
Or
you?
can you hear me?
Okay.
Jennifer says that they can hear. Can everybody hear on the screen? Okay, just talk loud. son.
Okay, so there's a moratorium program, anybody doing renovations to the home. There's a couple of different qualifiers if you're putting, 25% of the value of a certain age. I know that in the WEOP area, there is different qualifications up to 10%. And I don't know each area or what those qualifications might be, but if you apply, you have 2 years to complete the program. So for an example, if you own a home and it's worth 40,000 and you put money into it, and let's say at the end of the 2 years, it's worth 50. Okay, your value as a moratorium is frozen for 5 years once you complete that project, but it only applies to the local tax rates. The state and the school board do not participate, but you will get a certificate once you qualify. It spells it all out, tells you what, tax rates apply to that. It's transferable, so if you do sell the property, it would be a benefit to the new person. So if they buy it for 7, the local tax would be based on that 40 for the remainder of the moratorium. So there is some savings there. You do have to apply with IBL. So make sure before you start those renovations or document it, you tell anybody, to make sure to fill out that application before they start the work. That way we can get the pre-construction and pre-renovation value. And then we'll have that post-bid value.
Right. Any questions on that, on the moratorium? Any other questions about the assessment role or the reassessment this year? Concerns, suggestions?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
How for those that pay their taxes from escrow, how are, if their taxes are gonna raise, how is that information communicated?
The mortgage companies are notified. And they actually, on an escrow account, correct me if I'm not right on saying this, but the tax bill goes to the homeowner and to the mortgage company. So they get notified of your increase in value. And then they raise your mortgage payment accordingly. Yeah, Jason.
So I will tell anybody that got an assessment. If it did, if it did go up, majority of them did in the tip area. To go ahead and start putting money away.
Yeah.
One of the problems that we usually find is in February, because you're short. Your escrow will pay it. But they'll let you know in February you were short, and your example, $700.
Right.
They'll know you're gonna be short the next year, $700.
Yeah.
So they're going to say, we need to make up $100, we'll do it over the remainder of the year, which is February, March, you get 10 months. That's a pretty sizable increase in your escrow account. So I would tell anybody, please, they can contact the full instructor. Let them, the escrow company, let them know this is a new value, and I want you to pay $50 more, or they can just put it in an account. Whatever they can do, I would prepare for that shortfall that's gonna happen this fall.
I have a question for you all. So with the tax credit in the TIF areas, I'm assuming that's what you were referring to, right? So, and maybe Metro knows this. There was a, what is it called? The TED program, tax defer program, where and Laura Grabowski was the administrator of it. And I think it basically encompasses the TIF area where those tax bills could not be sold. Is anybody familiar with that, Chief?
Yeah.
And is that still in play?
I believe it is still in play, for
Okay.
those delinquent tax claims. Are based on the census tracts that were indicated and approved by the Metro.
Right. So it goes hand in hand with the TIF area that if someone's bill may go delinquent, but typically the journey of a delinquent bill ends up on the courthouse steps. Some predatory tax agency comes in and buys it. And then you can get a foreclosure notice if you don't pay their, added on fees and all that stuff. So I'm glad to know that. And I think that will help too. So, anything else?
Colleen, thank you so much. Thank
Oh.
you.
There's a question back there. Yes, ma'am.
Are new assessments now to people that have a homestead and don't pay any taxes? Do they still send them the new assessment?
On the homestead, if your homestead exemption covered, exceeded the value of your home. If your homestead exemption exceeded the value of your home, you didn't get a tax bill. But now, if it increases, if the value of your home is increased above the homestead amount, you will receive a tax bill for whatever that balance is.
They were sent a reassessment notice.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Yeah, so if they was below, if their assessment, new assessment was below the 46,350, they still got a notice, but they won't get a tax bill.
Right.
Come November.
Do you live in area 1?
Yes,
Did you get a reassessment notice?
no.
Okay. Okay, we're good. Thank you, Barrett. Thank you so much. Great to see you all.
Thank you.
Keep doing good work and let us know if we can help in any way. Whoops, excuse me, you kind of stumbled. Here, okay. I end up on the. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Good to see you. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right, and next on our agenda, we have the approval of the minute. So we have the April 24th, 2023 board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the Gina? Christopher Romaine, thank you. Sorry. Now, I'm sorry, thank you. Frank just died. Need to vote on the approval of the April 24th, 2023 board meeting minute. All in favor? All opposed? All right. Sorry. The motion is passed. I'm sorry, the approval of the minutes. And then also the approval of the minutes of the March 22nd, 2023 revised. 27, sorry. 2023 revised board meeting minute. Motion on the floor to approve the revised minutes.
So moved. Second.
Got Gina and William Saunders, thank you. And now we need to vote on the approval of those minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? And the meeting minutes, the revised meeting minutes are approved. Now on to the interim president CEO report from Ms. Laura Douglas.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have just a very brief report for you today. The first item concerns the board training, and this is just a reminder that we're scheduled for Saturday, June 10th from 9 to 3. Also Friday, June 23rd from 9 to 3. And tentatively, we're scheduled to be at the Bayard Center. There's free parking under the building. It's located at 5th and Jefferson Street. It's the old PNC Bank. So you'll enter the underground parking from Jefferson Street. Come up 5th and make a turn right there at Jefferson. And again, the parking is free since we're going to be there all day. Items will be available for refreshment and also for lunch. So we will be there if the board approves the agreement with the trainers that's on the agenda for later today. Couple of other items. Amy and I have been collaborating and had some discussions and have talked to other folks and organizations regarding the loan program. And I mentioned this at the last meeting as well, that we are putting together a loan program that will be presented to this body for its approval. And the significant thing to keep in mind is that the loan is available for anyone who lives in the 9 neighborhoods, who lives in one of the 9 neighborhoods, notwithstanding their income level. So that's an important piece of information to keep in mind. We have reached yes with the lease. We have not brought the lease forward to be signed yet because there will be a delay in the effective date of the lease. The owner of the property has a short-term opportunity with the new medical facility that's going in Westwood to rent out some of their space for training purposes, so that anticipate receiving the document, the lease, after she finishes going through the process with the hospital. As I analyzed it, it was an opportunity for her to make some additional funds before we begin our period. And why would we want to cooperate with a business person in West Louisville that they could get a little bit more income? Because we just voluntarily pushed forward our date for activating our lease. But that, of course, will be something that the board will be thoroughly reviewing before it goes into effect. And those are the 3 items. I have nothing else, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you very much. And now to our committee updates. First, we have Ms. Jennifer Hancock, the chair of the Board Development Committee.
We have nothing new to report at this time, Madam Chair.
All right, great. And then on to Dr. Dawn Wade, chair of the Communications Committee.
No.
Okay. Thank you for the new name tags. And Gabe Jones, did he ever? No,
He's not here.
So anybody from the Community Engagement Committee want to step in and give any updates, or do you have any update?
I don't think that we have anything to do.
Okay, great. Moving on. And then Mr. William Summers, the 5th chair of the Finance Committee. Come here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, the finance committee did meet Friday. And we on the recommendations of the financials, I think they have been sent out. So you've seen the balance sheet, pretty stable, consistent, but you've seen the income statement, normal expenses, that nothing really new on there. Did anybody have any questions as far as in relation to the balance sheet or to the income statement? If not, the finance committee does recommend approval, so I think we just need a second.
Okay, but do we second or just vote?
Well, a motion from the standing committee does require a second. So
So it's just the vote.
move and then we vote.
All right.
So the finance committee moves that the financials are approved.
And so on to the vote to approve the April 2023 financial summary. All in favor, say aye. All
Aye.
opposed? All right, so the April 2023 financial summary is approved.
Now, the next thing on here for the vote is for the board training. Normally talk about that, from a standpoint, we have sent what they will be providing and the cost. Essentially, it's gonna be $10,000 fee for the training for the two companies. But again, the finance committee is making a motion for approval.
And Monique, you did have a question that you sent via email earlier today. Did my response back to you satisfy your questions?
Yes, it did. And just for full clarity, I had asked about section 3 in regards to confidentiality. If it is inclusive of our being able to share materials with the public, your response was very clear that it more applies to them holding our information confidential, which was fantastic. The other question was in regards to intellectual property, if we would have the ability to update materials going forward. And your response to that there's not any anticipated materials that would need to be updated was perfectly clear. And thank you so much for that.
All right, well,
So with that, does anybody else have any questions, concerns in relation to the board retreat, board training? If not, the finance committee does move for approval.
All right. And therefore, we are going to vote on the 2023 training for the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved.
Now, and we did also discuss entering into an agreement for Baird to be our financial consultant. I think everybody has been able to see that agreement. Very flexible at a very, I think, nominal fee of $2,500 a month for that expertise. I apologize, Chip had a meeting today, wasn't able to be here. But our contact information is in there for all the individuals that will be working in relationship to helping us get to where we want to be. Now, we did look at the list, and one of the things that I have informed Chip, there was a woman, there was not an African-American woman, anybody on that team. And I have said that it's important to hopefully that we can try to find, we want to be lifting up and make sure that the team is diverse. And he's aware of that, and hopefully moving forward, we'll definitely try to make that happen. But as of right now, that is not a part of his team right now. But with that, anybody have any questions about the agreement or the scope of work that they're going to help us identify and that they'll be doing for us? If not, then the finance committee does move for approval of allowing Baird to be our financial consultant.
All right, so, and now we will take a vote as all in favor of Baird being the financial consultant for. Is that Monique? I'm sorry.
I think it's.
Sharon, I believe you're getting some echo from your.
I think it's the miss.
Okay, sorry. So all in favor of Baird being the financial consultant for the WEOP board. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
and Madam Chair, if you would allow to back up a little bit, you heard the finance chair talk about the concern that he had raised with Baird about having some minority representation on the finance team that would be servicing us. You just approved the training contract with Valor Insights and also Olive Branch. I thought it would be helpful to let you know that Valor Insights, the two principals, are Hispanic, And for Olive Branch Solutions, the two principals are African American and one of them is a resident of the Chickasaw neighborhood.
Now, the last thing we want to talk about is the 990 status. Tony Levy is preparing that for us. There has been, an extension has been filed. And we probably look for that to be completed. When she didn't do it before, she wanted to make sure she's getting all the proper information and she's working, to get that. So we anticipate that really being completed over the next 30 to 60 days. And it's really just from an informational standpoint, because that was May the 15th, the extension filed, and that should be filed and completed hopefully over the next 30, 60 days. Anybody have any questions about that, or? If not,
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, on to old business. Any old business? Right? Have you none? On to new business. Any new business?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
we should note that Tarina Weathers, Secretary Weathers, Governor Bashir appointed her to become the first African-American Commonwealth Attorney for Jefferson County. So she will be having to resign from the board, and the governor will have to fill another appointment.
Okay, thank you very much for that information.
That's a good news.
That is.
Yeah.
That is good news, bad news. All right.
I think that deserves a round of applause.
And now we have our public comment. So we have time for 5 participants at 3 minutes apiece. And we do have one today by the name of Miss Charlene Holloway. And she's going to use her 3 minutes. Miss Charlene, why don't you come up here near the microphone, okay?
All right.
Would you like to stand or sit?
I'll stand.
Okay, yeah, you stand right about here. Okay,
My name is Charlene Hampton Holloway. I'm a Louisville native. I grew up in the California neighborhood on 17th Street, where I attended Phyllis Whitley Elementary, just like my late Jefferson County school teacher mother, her sister, a nurse. I'm retired RN myself. I am an author, a play, an archivist, you name it. But I was asked by one of the employees of Louisville Forward to write a play, put my book back into print with lots of compositions, write a script for a play. It is an educational musical stage play. And one of the characters, the first character, will be my Caucasian great-great-grandfather, who actually graduated from Louisville Medical Institute, which was the actually University of Louisville Medical School, founded in 1837. And he graduated in 1842. I have all his history. He was my grandfather's paternal grandfather. And I know that this play would make a great impact on our community. I was just asked to submit a story, and Miss Tawana Baines, who owns Today's Magazine, she actually did an article on me and stated that my play would be presented in performances across America. So I'm just happy to announce that, hoping that this community would be kind enough. The gentleman I just first met, his name is Robert Barry Fleming. He is the executive director of Actors Theater. He asked me to submit the script. I met with him inside the PNC Bank and Heine Brothers. He was excited once he told me he read the script. So I think this would be a play for the ages, and I would hope that everyone here would attend and tell if you have 3,000, Facebook friends are 5,000, and it will be promoted through the media. Television, radio, WLOU, the first African American established radio in the state of Kentucky. And I think it's something that everyone here would enjoy, so. I just wanted to give that, thank you, statement. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, let me check online.
We have one more.
Oh, do we have another one? Oh, okay. I'll still check while we're doing that.
Thank you. Need to come across. No, you can just stand right
You can
there.
stand right there.
Just stand right, yeah.
All right. If it,
Good evening, almost. My name is Amira Granger, I'm resident of the Chickasaw neighborhood. I have two questions, comments. I know that won't necessarily answer back, but I'm posing them, so hopefully an answer will come forth later. The first one is about our representative for the Chickasaw neighborhood. This is the second meeting I've been in attendance, and I haven't seen him online nor in person. So I'm curious to know what the attendance expectation is for members, particularly when you represent a community. Additionally, our neighborhood association, we have 3 different groups within the Chickasaw community neighborhood who have reached out to him to have him speak on behalf of the WEOP and speak on what projects you are looking to do. And we haven't heard back. So is there a different representative for Chickasaw, or can you maybe share an email that the community can reach him directly? The business card that I got from him about a year ago, I haven't gotten much luck with that. So I didn't know if there are representatives, if you have an email address through the WEOP that's like, George at the West End Opportunity Partnership, or if it's something different that you could offer a phone number that's a general line that we could get a call in and someone could spare him up to give any of the 3 neighborhood groups a call back. That's a multitude question. The next thing, there was a comment made, and Mr. Summers, I appreciate your, many things that you've worked on, but I noticed in the last 2 meetings, you haven't shared any numbers when you give your reporting. I don't know if that's for the community to have to put in a request for the materials and documents that you all have, but I think that it would be within a normal range. Metro Council or any other group that has public meetings, they share the details. So that would be appreciated if you could share some numbers when you share your financial reports. Thank you.
Thank you.
there's a email. I will get that email to you if I may speak to that, because I did talk to Gary. He was at the last 2 meetings. You don't have the correct email for him. And he has not been receiving any communication, he advised me. So I'll make sure that you all have the correct email so he can properly respond.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And was there anyone online?
No,
So just, your second issue concerning the financials, access financials online for the partnership. Board meetings, any documents that we share in the meetings, the public can access those documents online.
I'll make sure you have that link. Because in the minutes, we usually add the financials, so I'll make sure that that's updated and that you have access to that information.
I'd like to have that too.
Pardon me?
I'd like to have that.
Yeah, I'll make sure that it's all updated. And that you all have access to it, okay? And there's no one else, Wayman Eddings has his hand up. And I just asked you to unmute, Mr. Eddings.
I want to echo some of the other sentiment. We appreciate the service that all the volunteers have offered for this very worthy partnership. I do want to say that as well, I have concerns about the nature of the financial reporting, combined with the lack of clarity around what projects or partnerships that the board is pursuing externally in the community. I'm on the website right now, and it's not clear where that data may be on the website. And then finally, hearing a lot of subcommittees reporting no reports. Do you guys have a standard or a strategy going forward to make sure that there's tasking in each committee so that there can be a little bit more productivity in that structure? These are concerns I think that a lot of community members share. But, you know, put it in a positive spin. Thank you for what you guys do, the hard work, the talent that you guys bring to the West End and its future development.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's nobody else.
All right. There are no more comments. Then we are on to the 2023 board meeting dates, and you have them there. And for you to look at, our next board meeting is June the 26th.
Location to be determined. We will not have our board meeting in June here nor in July. The Y has summer programming. And so we will work to identify another location and communicate that to you all as soon as we have it.
Having nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you all
everyone.
online.
Thank you.
Thank you.